This week, the federal government is face to face with a great barrier with a big, very beautiful door in it. If Republicans can only agree whether to walk through and fund the construction of President Trump's proposed border wall. This is the wall that Mexico was supposed to pay for, but isn't, and that's actually beside the point right now. You're paying for this wall if it gets built. So politics guy Brandon Rittiman asked our reps in Washington if they're down with a shutdown over the wall.
This week, President Trump hits 100 days in office. 100 days. And still, he's trying to rally support for what he promised to do day one.
On day one, we will begin working on an impenetrable, physical, tall, powerful, beautiful southern border wall.
You'll recall he also made a specific promise about paying for it.
And Mexico will pay for the wall. They don't know it yet, but they're going to pay for the wall.
Now, President Trump wants you, American taxpayers, to pay for this wall, at least to get it started. But that's complicating the deal to keep the government open. Democrats don't want the wall, don't think it'll work, don't plan to vote for it. Senator Michael Bennet told us instead of using the threat of a government shutdown to fund a border wall that the president said Mexico would pay for, he should demonstrate real leadership and work on a bipartisan basis to pass comprehensive immigration reform. Republicans can be a little harder to pin down. Congressman Mike Kaufman's office told us he supports, quote, physical barriers where geographically possible and needed. His office wouldn't say how he'd vote on President Trump's request, but he did push back on the idea that Congress needs to hold itself to the president's promise of making Mexico pay, saying the responsibility to secure the borders of the United States rests solely with the United States, and that responsibility is to be shared with no other country. Congressman Doug Lamborn was more direct. Congress should be involved in the appropriation of funds, his office told us. In addition to a physical barrier, American technology can also provide a virtual wall designed to detect illegal border crossing activities. We don't know how this will end. We do know if Republican leaders insist on funding the wall here, it's gonna make it harder to get the votes to keep the government open. For Next, I'm Brandon Rittiman.
The U.S. government last shut down in 2013 in a fight over Obamacare. The last time you were allowed to stop doing your basic job and still remain employed was never, because of course life doesn't work like that. When the threats were called into the Jewish Community Center in Boulder, first in January, then again in March, similar threats were made nationwide. The last thing that anyone suspected was that the threatening caller was in Israel and Jewish and a teenager. But federal investigators are now looking at whether this Israeli teenager charged with hoax threats in Georgia and Florida was also behind the threats in Boulder. Today, the Anti-Defamation League is out with its annual list of anti-Semitic incidents in Colorado, and the regional director, Scott Levin, tells me that they consider those Boulder threats to be anti-Semitic incidents, even in light of the new information about that case. If they're hoaxes, are they still acts of anti-Semitism?
Yeah, I think what you have to look at is what the effect of those threats were. It put an entire community on edge and in fear. So the fact that it was a Jew that may have perpetrated quite a few of these instances really didn't matter on the effect.
I had a broader conversation today about why the ADL thinks that Colorado's 45 recorded anti-Semitic incidents last year, more than double the 18 recorded the year before, are actually tied to our current political environment.
Part of it has to do with the type of rhetoric that's used, especially in these harassment and vandalism type of anti-Semitic activities that have occurred. Sometimes they are coupled together with very political comments as well. For instance, here in Colorado last summer, there was a graffiti that was posted that said, "Kill the Jews, vote Trump." Now, I don't think that that's Donald Trump's fault. He's not the one that's out there calling for that happening. But there are people who are feeling very emboldened.
As for the president, there have been critics who have said that he has tacitly encouraged or at least allowed anti-Semitic behavior and rhetoric from his followers. Can you draw that straight line between something that the president, or when he was a candidate, said or did, and then what we see showing up here in Colorado?
Yeah, absolutely not. I cannot draw that direct line. Certainly, there are people out there that have anti-Semitic attitudes. I think they've been encouraged by some of the nativist, some of the nation-first kinds of discussions that have gone on, and typically Jews, because they're viewed as the other or the stranger, often fall victim in those periods of time that are going on. But no, I don't think that there's a direct line that Donald Trump is anti-Semitic and calling out for people to act on their anti-Semitism.
Levin says the percentage of Americans who hold anti-Semitic views is not increasing. It's been steady at 13–14% for a long time. So there aren't more bigots, they're just busier bigots. In our full conversation on the next YouTube channel, we also discussed how online hate is spilling over into real life. Someone, somewhere in America thinks Denver is a city constantly clouded in a haze of marijuana smoke where people here illegally just break the law without fear of consequence. That someone somewhere may or may not be Attorney General Jeff Sessions. And today, Mayor Michael Hancock acknowledged that the 420 pot party that left Civic Center Park trash contributed to that perception that Denver only enforces some of the laws some of the time.
We always want to be mindful of the city not promoting lawlessness. And when I look out that office at the 420 event any year and I see the plume, that bothers me. Because at the end of the day, the city must be seen as the guardians of the city treasury, but also, and our treasured spaces, but also the law.
Mayor Hancock wants a review of the city's permitting processes, maybe a requirement in the future that organizers don't leave a landfill in our parks. He said the organizers of this year's 420 rally could get hit by penalties. The mayor did not suggest that Denver's going to move away from allowing an enormous party where people smoke cannabis in public in clear violation of the law. You know, I've been gone so long and wondered every single day, is the A-line working? The train to the plane? Please tell me that they fixed it while I was gone. Yes! I leave town for 2 minutes and RTD comes out to say the A-line crossing gate issue is finally fixed. And now testing on the G-line to Arvada can begin. RTD needs federal railroad regulators to sign off on this fix, but RTD spokesman Nate Curry sees the end of our stupid segment in sight.
It's running really well. I think we're at just over 90% now on-time performance for the year, which is remarkable. 94% so far for the month, and it's heading in the right direction. And it's really gratifying to be finally in these final stages, so that I won't have to hear Kyle talk about the A-line very much anymore.
Really? You think we're going to give up?
No.
All right, I'll make the promise right here, right now. When the A-line gets the all clear, I will be there to celebrate its success. I'll ride the train wearing an I Love the A-Line shirt and a party hat. I promise you. It is crane season in Denver, not the migrating bird type that was last month in the San Luis Valley. In Denver, the cranes that fly up here, they're building high-priced condos and apartments. You can't miss them. Chris Jones tweeted out a photo saying, I, for one, welcome our new crane overlords. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just in that view from Benedict Fountain Park near 22nd Street and Tremont Place downtown. Reminder, there is a cool tool to keep track of all the cranes that now run our city. Our friends at the Denver Business Journal have their Crane Watch web feature. You can zoom in on a map to check out which projects are being worked on in your neighborhood, at what cost, who's developing the land, and when the building's supposed to be completed. We have a link to it on the next section of 9news.com. And progress in some's eyes at the Capitol today means more of those cranes might actually be building condos. Bill passed through the House today on the topic of construction defects. For years, developers have been looking for leeway around the state law that makes it pretty easy to sue them over defects in condominium and townhome construction. This bill would require half of all homeowners, not just the HOA, to approve a lawsuit against the developer for those defects. There are those who protect and respect nature, and there are those who don't. And now there's an Instagram that shames people who do not respect our beautiful state. It is called Trail Trash CO. It says play by the rules or get named and shamed. I'm not sure how I feel about this in the end, but there have been people sending in photos and evidence of people disrespecting trails in the wilderness, and they have been called out publicly by Instagram name and by photo. Is this how you do it? Is this how you convince people to protect our beautiful state? If you go to 9news.com/vote now, I want you to sway me on this. Social media shaming, effective way to curb bad behavior on Colorado's trails and parks and open spaces? Yes, name them and shame them. No, this is not how you do it, counterproductive. I have to put a third choice up there, so I put up meh. Who votes meh? Don't do that, please. 9news.com/vote now. We'll check in with you right after this. Next, they found a way to stay busy and productive while on parole. Just kidding, they're wonderful older people. Colorado's newest protected species is a single specimen of the type that usually decorates our car with feces. Your take on trail trash shaming and swinging in Colorado. Next. You people are savage. You are all for this Instagram shaming, this trail trash CO account that shows people by name and face doing naughty things in Colorado's beautiful places. A whopping 80% of you say, yeah, put their names and faces out there. I'm not sure whether this is actually going to solve anything and whether it might just cause more problems in the meantime. But man, you folks are saying, go ahead, lay it down for them. The most Colorado swing we saw today is a ski lift going nowhere, except perhaps to good use. Angela Alderson and her husband bought an old chair from Arapahoe Basin years ago. They created a swing in their backyard out of it. And this is the Alderson family's spot on nice evenings. Show us the most Colorado thing or swing you've seen. Get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext or email next@9news.com.
Might want to consider a canopy over that outdoor swing this week. We have a chance for showers almost every afternoon, and by the end of the week, perhaps a little snow. April is our third snowiest month. We've been telling you. I'm meteorologist Kathy Sabin. Look at the clouds outside of Fort Collins. They look ominous and dark. Not a lot happening. Ahead of it, temperatures very comfortable today. Seasonal, mid-60s here along the Front Range, but there's colder air coming our way, and that cold air means snow for the mountains. Winter weather advisory out for 3 to 6 inches of snow over the next, 24 to 36 hours. Tracking some showers moving rapidly from the southwest toward the northeast tonight on that I-76 corridor. We have 3 storms coming our way. One moving through today, another on the way tomorrow, a stronger one for the end of the week. So just keep that umbrella, light jacket in your car. Never know when you might need it. Showers tonight, a break tomorrow. Showers as we move into Wednesday. Heavier rain pushing into Thursday night and Friday. And then when the cold air gets here Saturday morning, you might just wake up to snow. Around here this evening, it is all rain with a little thunder out on the far eastern plains, lows in the upper 30s. We'll see some sunshine tomorrow. Temperatures not quite as warm, upper 50s here. Late day showers move out. We get a little break on Wednesday. Thursday showers back in the forecast, turning heavy Friday, mixing with snow Saturday. Sunday looks to be the warmest day of the weekend with sunshine and highs back in the 60s.
Kathy, thanks. So when did it become a crime to show kindness on the evening news? We skip most of the mugshots to make some room for people who actually deserve a daily dose of fame. Like the lovely ladies of Garden Plaza in Aurora. It's an assisted living facility.
Back to front, back to front, back to front, all the way around. And do it on every single one. Back to front, back to front.
It's like the old quilting parties.
Pretty soon you're going to teach us how to do it.
Oh, don't go that far.
Okay, now?
If you run out of something to do, knit a hat.
Just like we've been doing, huh?
Shirley started talking about knitting, and then it just sort of grew.
My hands are not meant to be lazy or lethargic.
We'll just go ahead and finish this row.
Oh, mercy.
I don't see anybody knitting for themselves.
This is our newest project, is hats for the homeless.
We take these to a homeless shelter.
And we know this is going to go somewhere where it probably will do some good. We don't have a set time as to when they will be delivered, but when we get enough of them, we will take them to a place where they can give them out.
Mother made that one.
Really?
That's how Mother does the crochet. Now I feel like we are in a time of our life where we have the time to give back.
It makes it a lot more meaningful because it's not just for me. It's for others.
It makes me feel great.
I wouldn't be here if it didn't make me feel good.
It's definitely for a good cause. It's definitely for a good cause.
You saw the hats. Ladies also make blankets and mats out of old grocery bags for Doctors Without Borders overseas. They don't need your grocery bags. They will accept your yarn donations at Garden Plaza. Olivia's checking things off her bucket list with the help of some very good people. We first met her Friday when the 6-year-old with a terminal illness got to be a firefighter with South Metro. Also on her list, catching the bad guys, and the Denver police made that happen for Olivia. She got to crack down on crime, even got some handcuff training there. There's a few more things on that list of hers, and she and her family said they are so thankful for everyone making her wishes come true. A very visible reminder at the grocery store not to forget the eggs. And do you remember your first trip or your last trip to Cinderella City? We go back to what they call the largest mall west of the Mississippi next. Some Whole Foods customers leaving the store with a lighter wallet and a weighty sense of self. Kidding, I shop there from time to time. Some of those customers in Littleton are getting an extra surprise. Photojournalist Chris Hansen turned his lens on the reason.
I think it's just one of those stories that everybody could feel good about.
Did you find everything okay today?
Whole Foods does a really good job of promoting and taking care of local brands.
This is the first year that she's come to this parking lot.
I just saw it out there. I was just like, what is this goose doing out here? And they said it's laying eggs, and I thought it was cool. We get to watch nature in action.
She seems pretty happy and content here.
Oh my God, she's so cute. And of all places that she picked to lay her eggs.
So we just came in one day and we saw 2 geese just kind of hovering around this area. And then on the next day, Tuesday, that's when we saw 3 eggs laid there.
So how much longer will it be before the eggs hatch?
It takes 25 days for the eggs to hatch. So we have a date of May 5th that we're looking to have some new babies in the parking lot. The dad goose, you know, he's around.
It's been like a week that we haven't seen him.
Oh, there's Daddy Goose right across the street. He's over there checking us out.
He got hit by a car, so.
In his beginning of the 2nd week, he was limping around the parking lot quite a bit. Had some blood on his leg. After a while, he's been good. You know, he's been walking around, doing well.
All right, like any good mama, she's protecting her nest.
And we've also learned that once they pick a nesting area and they like it, they'll come back for the next 20 to 25 years. Hopefully we're all here when they hatch and go on their way.
Good luck, Mama. Good luck, Mama Goose.
Stores coordinated with police and animal control to move the goose family to a nearby lake. You know, timing is right. May I make a recommendation? Point you towards something that didn't come from our newsroom but is certainly worth your time. You should check out the Denver Public Library's project on Cinderella City. You know, the mall in Inglewood that opened in 1968. Largest mall west of the Mississippi at the time. 7,000 parking spaces, 1.5 million square feet of space. The kind of big idea in America whose time came and went. Library has an extensive exploration of Cinderella City's rise and fall and a lot of really sweet historic photos. I'd bet that if you grew up here, your mind holds some very similar images. There's a link to the article on the next section of 9news.com. We'll have your feedback when we return. And speaking of returns, where have I been for the last week? Let's play 2 truths and a lie. I was in Washington, D.C., meeting with some very powerful people considering a run for elected office. Get your guesses in now. #HeyNext. Man, you people have a thirst for shame. 77% of you loving that Trail Trash Colorado Instagram, naming and shaming people who are trashing our beautiful state. Like Mon and Kirk Stamper, who wrote in, if a person uses a trail, take care of it. It's called being an adult. They continue, your attire is kind of boring, but glad you're back. I am glad to be back. All right, 2 truths and a lie. I was in Washington, was meeting with powerful people, but no, I am not exploring a run for elected office. I was just talking to some other newsies about what we're doing with Next and why it's a lot more fun than the usual day-to-day. Susan Galloway writes in, hey, Next, did you loan Mayor Hancock that jacket he was wearing in the clip you showed? Do you see that? It was like this sweet, like, gray on black check. Strong work, Mayor Hancock. I promise to spice things up sartorially next time.